Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday night. Kevin Byard has been officially, the team just announced it about 10 minutes ago, has just been officially traded. The transaction reported on earlier, but not announced until 19 minutes ago by the team for a fifth-round pick, a sixth-round pick, both in 2024, and a depth safety in Terrell Edmonds, who wasn't seeing the field in Philadelphia. This is a huge move because what it signifies to me, to you, to their roster, and to everybody who's paying any attention at all is that the Tennessee Titans, 6 games into their regular season, are waving the white flag by trading away the guy who is the heart and soul of their franchise as much as their defense. So we're going to talk about what your reaction to this was. We'll discuss who's next, theoretically, as this team clearly enters a tear-it-down phase. We will bring Bert in here, I guess, to do some boots-on-the-ground reporting for in case you missed it, but we will wait until the end of the show as the San Francisco 49ers get on the board in Minnesota, keeping track of Monday Night Football with you, 10-7 Vikings right now, just a little before halftime. Going to need you guys to share the broadcast around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch before we get rolling. If you would please, if you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. The bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left. And if you're on YouTube or on Twitch, you can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel. You can do all of those things and tell a friend to do the same. Now, there's a video that I forgot to ask Bert for, and it's one that I'm going to need, of Kevin Byard speaking after the London game that he can acquire from my Twitter account that I'm currently locked out of. So if he could get on that in the midst of this, between that and his intrepid journalism segment, I would be grateful to him, because it's ironic that the last words that Kevin Byard spoke to us as a member of the Tennessee Titans were in London at a podium after a dreadful loss to the Baltimore Ravens, in which Kevin Byard said, basically, bye week coming up would be good to kind of recollect ourselves, but was saying, I'm not somebody who wants to leave. I want to stick around the facility. I want to find ways to find solutions for this team, and the team found a solution using Kevin Byard by shipping him off for parts. So with all of this said, I think that we are entering a new phase, a different phase of the Tennessee Titans franchise, and we're going to talk about that together. But first, we have to start the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday night from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. If you're new to the show, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the great folks at Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, and get unlimited 5% cash back on your first 15 days of wagering. A2ZTN in the Zen Sports app is where you go. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team are there to support you. Go to AmandaJGentry.com for more information. And the TrueMav Fitness Gym in the Gulch in downtown Nashville. TrueMav Fitness, the best place for you to work out. I'm looking forward to my personal training session at TrueMav tomorrow at 7:45 in the morning. If you want your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident, go to TrueMavFitness.com. So this is a pretty devastating day for a lot of Titans fans, and also a pretty clear and obvious signal for the direction that the organization is heading. They traded away another one of their best players, a different situation, obviously, than A.J. Brown. But on the heels of Sunday Night Football, where the Philadelphia Eagles moved to 6-1 and pretty well dominate the Miami Dolphins, one of the better teams in the AFC, they said, you know what? We're not done yet picking this carcass for meat that's left on the bone in Tennessee. We're coming back for more. We want Kevin Byard because we think he could help our safety depth. And so that is exactly what they've done. Now, they weren't actively shopping Kevin Byard, but Rand Carthon has acknowledged that not just by this transaction, but has been talking about moving pieces for some time now behind closed doors. Now this first piece of action, whether or not there's more to come, yet to be determined, but we will see because we still have a week until the trade deadline comes down, a week from 3 p.m. tomorrow. But Kevin Byard is the first one on the chopping block. Ben Hall says he's not sad, he's just hurt. Andre Beeman says if Rand doesn't turn either that 5th or 6th round pick into a starting level player, then it will be a disappointing trade. Well, of course. I mean, of course, if it doesn't turn it into a starting level player, it will be a disappointing trade. Andre, you don't get points off for saying the most obvious thing, but yes, you are in fact accurate that would be a massive disappointment if they turned around a 2-time All-Pro and one of the best players to ever play for this franchise for a 5th and 6th round pick to not get a starting level player out of it. Yes, that would be a questionable decision. Well done by you. But I think that there is a larger theme here that we have to talk about, and the idea that a team that has told us time in and time out that their plan this year was to be competitive has decided that they are not competitive enough through 6 games. Now, here's the thing. I think that you can view this a variety of different ways, and we'll start with your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. What was your first reaction to the Kevin Byard trade? We'll discuss at length together. What was your first reaction? Do you think it's a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? We will talk about it together right after I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service, and the convenience that you experience as a Two Rivers Ford customer. I am a Two Rivers Ford customer. No matter how you like to shop, Two Rivers Ford is going to set you up for success the same way that they have done for me and so many other hundreds of thousands of Middle Tennesseans across 40 years. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So what was your first reaction to the Kevin Byard trade when that came down about 3 p.m. this afternoon? Very true. Let's see. Hilarious. Eagles keep bending the Titans over the barrel, says Brent Woods. It does feel pretty bad, right? I think a lot of people, there's just a 60-yard touchdown reception, by the way, by Jordan Addison here just before half, 7 seconds left to go in the second quarter between the Vikings and the Niners on Monday Night Football. I think the thing that, a lot of you are probably going to speak to tonight is just, did it have to be Philadelphia? Philadelphia already robbed you blind with A.J. Brown. They did the deal that did you the most dirty and, are still reaping the benefits of that to this very day. Kevin Byard is a different kind of player. He's not 25 the way that A.J. was. He's in his 30s. He's definitely on the back end of his career as opposed to being entering into his prime the way that A.J. was. And certainly the draft compensation for A.J. Brown was much different than what they are getting for Kevin Byard. But Kevin Byard is still a functional piece on a high-level football team. Philadelphia recognizes that. Tennessee just needs assets right now because they have so many needs across the board. And despite Kevin Byard's best efforts, he cannot fix it all for them. But I think that when you talk about most of this stuff, the thing that a lot of you are going to come away saying, at least that was my initial my initial reaction was, oh my God, the Eagles got them again with this. That's going to be a really, really hard thing to eat. But my initial reaction was, oh, okay, finally, Rand Carthon moves on from Kevin Byard because he's been laying the groundwork for this all offseason. They tried to move Kevin Byard in the offseason. They tried to get him to take a pay cut. He was not interested in doing that. They ultimately got him to take a pay cut, and they dressed it up as a contract restructure, even though it wasn't very much that at all. It was not a surprising move to me today. I knew that something was going to come down. It was just a matter of who would be the first one to roll. And ultimately, it is the player that makes the most sense in KB. Now, again, the irony of this is how hard Kevin Byard worked to make this thing functional. And you'll hear from Kevin Byard here in just a little bit. But here are the details courtesy of Ian Rappaport, who first reported the trade today.
That's right. A big-time trade for the Eagles general manager. Howie Roseman has never met a trade that he wouldn't at least listen to, talk about, weigh, and then eventually make. And that was the case today, another big-time in-season trade. Sources say the Eagles are trading for the Pro Bowler, All-Pro, former NFL interception leader, Kevin Byard. Now, for the Tennessee Titans, I think it's fair to say they've been open to dealing Byard, as well as potentially some other veterans who are making some real money. In the end, this is Kevin Byard going to the Philadelphia Eagles, Terrell Edmonds, a 5th and a 6th rounder, going to the Tennessee Titans. He reworked his deal before the year, so the Eagles only take on a little less than $3 million or around there in salary. Now, the Eagles have had some, I would say, need in the secondary, and they had one of the big-time playmakers in the NFL to it.
So that is Ian Rappaport reporting the transaction. Rooney Glover wants to know who's next. We'll talk about that here in just a second. A quick reminder that the Primetime Show is presented by the great folks at Zen Sports. Download the Zen Sports app and bet the NFL, the MLB, what we have going on with playoff baseball right now. You've got basketball getting ready to make its return this week, as a matter of fact, and hockey is in full swing. Promo code ATOZTN gets you unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering. So download the app, plug in that promo code. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 or up in Tennessee to wager. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So there are the details. And the details about the compensation, here's what stands out. They now have 7 picks in the 2024 NFL draft. They had 2 7ths. They had their first-round pick, their second-round pick. They did not have a 2024 third because of the trade up for Will Levis. So now they add to that compensation the 5th and the 6th round picks in 2024 to further bolster their draft assets, to give them the ability to move up in the draft should they be able to make a deal. This is just the place that they're in right now, and Kevin Byard is the best asset that they had available. They're not interested in trading young players. Derrick Henry is not really a trade asset. The other guys that Ian Rappaport mentioned, some other veterans who are making substantial money. I think that Danico Autry is a name to very, very much keep an eye on. But I think that when you look at all of the different ways that Kevin Byard has helped this franchise, there's only so much that Kevin Byard can do at this point in his career. And that was evidenced when we talked to him most recently, his last press conference as a Titan, after the Titans lost to the Ravens in London, where, we were asking him, KB, is it beneficial to get the time away to kind of come back, reassess, and regroup after the bye? And this was what Kevin Byard had to say. Very, very ironic.
This game, time into the week, preparing to go out there and play, and when you don't play well, it's very frustrating, especially coming off 2 straight losses. It's very frustrating. So I kind of been speaking about it, trying to string together some wins, and it's just not happening right now. We're not playing well on no sides of the ball, honestly. It's not a finger-pointing type deal. As defense, as myself as a captain, got to make more plays. And, that's the way we win ball games. So our best players got to play well, and, I don't think any of us is playing well enough to win right now.
Can the bye be a good opportunity to kind of just step away collectively, get some time apart before you guys try to figure out how to move forward?
Yeah, obviously got an early bye. To be honest, I don't even really want to go into a bye right now. I want to be able to get back into the building, get back to work. But, that's the way the schedule is. So, we'll take some time off, guys. You got some guys that's injured. They need some rest. But I'm going to try to stay in, try to see what I can do to try to, help this team out and make some more plays. Honestly, that's kind of another thing about the entire game. Just want to be able to go out there and make more plays and try to help this team get some wins.
I'm paraphrasing.
So that's Kevin Byard after the London game. And you heard him answer my question that way. He wants to get back in the building. He didn't want to go away for the bye. And ultimately he's saying, I want to do whatever I can to help this team. And now the entire time he's trying to help the team, as B-Birds18 on Twitch points out. And the thing that ultimately ends up helping this team the most is to ship him off. It sucks for sure. It's you guys love Kevin Byard. He's not just one of your best players. He's a homegrown product from MTSU. He's got his jersey number retired there. He's the mayor of Murfreesboro. He is one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best active players in the NFL, and has one of the best resumes of any active player in the NFL. Kevin Byard is truly special, and they are a worse team for losing him. But they are signaling now that they understand what we were starting to see, and they have taken 6 games to draw the conclusion that this team is not improving substantially as currently constructed. So now is the time to reevaluate, reassess, and see what they can get for the assets that they currently have. Monsoon Monahan says, I wish this team was good enough. I get it, but like, you guys understand how this works. It's cyclical. I mean, you don't get to stay at the top for very long, and you had a great 6-year run from spanning Mike Mularkey's end to Mike Vrabel's start, and the AFC Championship run in the middle of that, including the 2020 and 2021 seasons. I know that's not like at the top, because 2 of those 3 years you were one and done in the playoffs, but it is still a level of success, sustained success, that not a lot of franchises are capable of having. I know you didn't achieve the ultimate goal, but that is what life in the NFL is. This is the harsh reality. And I think that when you look at Kevin Byard's situation, one, he's a good player, but they are not an elite defense. And this offense basically needs the defense to be elite every time out to have truly a chance to win. It's not a good enough football team. There's only so much that they can, do right now. And this is the first time, well, after the London game, when Mike Vrabel was asked about things that were not correctable, and he said probably, maybe, that was the first public acknowledgement of what a lot of us felt like we knew at the time, which is this is a team that just doesn't appear to be very good right now in the landscape of their division, in the landscape of the NFL, and particularly the AFC. They'll bring in Terrell Edmonds. He's a guy who wasn't getting on the field in Philadelphia. He'll probably fill in a starting role next to Amani Hooker here, and we'll see if this isn't a kick in the ass for a lot of these guys who are saying, okay, now it's just about what I'm putting out there on tape, as opposed to, trying to make this work. Now it's about, okay, everybody is fair game. Everybody but Jeff Simmons, basically, on this roster is fair game. And I think to look around and to talk about this otherwise would be ignoring the reality of the situation. So we'll continue to talk about this. We'll get into who's next. Who do you think is next, or who should be next? Would you buy, sell, or hold if you were the Tennessee Titans after this first transaction? We'll talk about it together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by the great people at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team are there to protect your constitutional rights. You may not know much about your constitutional rights, and that's okay. That's what Amanda and her team are there to help you with. AmandaJGentry.com is where you go for more information about how she and her team can help you the way that they have helped Tennesseans in 35 counties, practicing law in Tennessee family and criminal courts in 35 counties across the state of Tennessee. AmandaJGentry.com. So who should be next? Who might be next? Would you buy, sell, or hold if you're the Titans? Trade Vrabel, says DJ Bliss. He has more value than any of the players on this trash roster. I don't know how teams are going to view the trading of coaches after this Sean Payton experiment has gone belly up, because I don't think, that is Joseph says, can we trade Buck? Well, there have been media trades before, right? And I'm also in an expiring contract situation. So could you get value for me? Who's to say? If you wanted to trade me to Philadelphia, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at you right now. I wouldn't mind covering the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you could figure out how to move me for a 5th or a 6th round pick in 2025, then I'd say I would sign off on that trade right away. That looks like an infinitely more appealing situation than the one it is that I am presently preparing to cover for the remaining 11 games of this NFL regular season. But in the absence of being able to move me, what else can you move, or what else might you move at this point? And Ben Hall says, why not? They've taken everything else but getting traded to Philly also. Yeah, at this point, like I said, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at it, but, I understand that is not how this works in any realm. What else could you move? What else might you move? Would you be willing to move anything else right now, or do you think that they need to stand pat? I think that when you look at a lot of these teams who are open for business, as our friend Diana Rossini reported earlier in the week, there is a lot to kind of look at this roster now that the first shot has been fired in Kevin Byard, and saying, okay, who else is making substantial money in an expiring contract situation, preferably where they could probably get some value back on the deal?
Dear Diana, the NFL trade deadline is right around the corner. So which 3 players could be traded? Here's what I know. Sell, sell, sell. That's what the general managers of the Denver Broncos, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Tennessee Titans are all hoping for. Look, the Broncos aren't having some fire sale, but I was told they'll listen to offers on any of their players. So who could be on their way out? Linebacker Josie Jewell, safety Kareem Jackson, and wide receiver Jerry Jeudy would all make sense. After trading away high draft picks the last 2 years, the Broncos need picks to rebuild. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals, they've got 6 picks in the first 3 rounds of next year's draft. So they don't really need more, but why not add? They could move on from wide receiver Marquise Brown or tight end Zach Ertz. Finally, the Titans. They are desperate for picks. Superstar Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, and Christian Fulton could all be on their way out. In terms of buyers, look out for these teams.
So that is Diana Rossini of The Athletic talking about how desperate the Tennessee Titans are for picks. They weren't actively selling anybody at the deadline, but they were taking calls. They have not gotten calls on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is not an asset that I think is going to be moved at this point. I don't think, looking at the roster, I think Danico Autry, as I mentioned, is a viable candidate for this. Christian Fulton, I have to believe that somebody would take a look at Christian Fulton, even though he's had a disaster of a season. And then there's Hopkins, who, looking around, the teams that did not pick up DeAndre Hopkins' phone calls initially might be more willing to take a look at him now that Tennessee has already paid a portion of his salary. But I don't think that they are going to be willing. I think their preference would be to hang on to Hopkins to break in whomever the next quarterback of the Tennessee Titans will be. So those are kind of the situations that as things stand right now, Arden Key, even though he just got here, pass rushers are always going to be valued. I don't think they'd move Harold Landry. But this is realistic now, where you have to look at everybody on the roster and say, all right, who truly is of value to them moving forward? And the answer is a lot of these players might be more valuable for the picks that they would yield than the actual play that they are getting ready to bring to this football team. The A to Z Sports Primetime Show is made possible by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to truemathfitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. They are there to serve you with the best workout program in Nashville, whether it's group fitness classes, whether it's personal training, or just signing up for a membership and working out at their facility as you please. TrueMathFitness.com is where you go for your first workout free. With that, I will tell you that the only thing that I am certain of right now with the Titans regarding trades is that I am almost 100% certain Derrick Henry will be on this roster past Halloween. Beyond that, I think that players on rookie deals are probably safe right now. I think that everybody else is pretty much up for grabs. So, Dillard, I don't think anybody's going to want him, but he's making a lot of money this year. I mentioned Key. I mentioned Autry. I think those are 2 players to keep an eye on as we get closer to Tuesday and see how Sunday goes against the Atlanta Falcons here in Nashville at Nissan Stadium. Zeke Reddick says, don't like Henry or D-Hop trade, but they deserve a ring. But that's the thing. Like, I don't think, Derek doesn't want to leave. Like Derek, and you guys, I'm not going to act like I know Derrick Henry super well, but I've been working around Derek enough his entire professional career at this point to understand what kind of person he is. And he's very, very much a creature of habit and routine and comfort level that it has taken him some time to establish here in Tennessee. He projects, larger than life, superhuman, all of these things, and he is on the football field. But in reality, this is somebody who doesn't have a very big circle of people around them, who keeps it tight and keeps it close to the vest for a reason. He's very mild-mannered, very laid back, and frankly, I think Derek over the course of time has worked through a lot of trust issues that it took him some time to be able to become the person who he has now become, where he stands in front of us, especially at the podium, and just has a different level of confidence to him. But the thing about all of this with Derek is that he's not more valuable to another team than he is here. And two, teams are not going to trade for Derrick Henry when he's only the reality of Derrick Henry right now is that he's a role player. Like, featured backs in the NFL don't really exist right now. And so if you're trading for an almost 30-year-old 2-down running back, what are you giving up? Because the answer is probably not anything more than a sixth. Are they going to move Derrick Henry for a 6th-round pick? And I bet it's not even a 2024 6th-round pick. I bet it's a future 6th or 5th at that point. Is the juice worth the squeeze there? Because then you're immediately telling people that, well, they've got no more reason to pay attention to the Titans this year. Beyond, trying to go out there and win football games. And, I don't know that they win more football games without Derrick Henry or Kevin Byard than they would with them. But they're certainly going to try and piecemeal this thing together as best they can while actively acquiring draft capital in the meantime. I don't, MK Zipper Club says DH won't ever see the new stadium. Well, of course he's not going to see the new stadium. None of us are going to see the new stadium. Jeff Simmons is barely going to see the new stadium. The stadium is 2027. Derek is going to be 35 by then. What are you talking about? See the new stadium. I don't know if I'm going to be here. I don't know if you're going to be here in 2027. At that point, who's to say who's going to see the new stadium? I'm assuming that it's going to be basically an entire new cast of characters that opens whatever the new stadium is called at whatever point that it opens. Ben Hall says if you trade Derek, attendance will plummet. I'm telling you, the juice. One, they're not getting offers, right? That's the most important part of it. There is no option to move Derrick Henry. If there was, I bet they'd take it. But beyond there not being an option, it doesn't make sense to actively try and push for this trade because, one, you only have Tajay Spears on the active roster right now as your other running back. Chestnut is on IR. Haskins is on IR. You have a practice squad running back right now, but I don't think that they would roll into the rest of the season with just those two options. Second, the meaning of Derrick Henry to this fan base. Kevin Byard means a lot, and you've already hurt the fans. Even though I think most of you are rational and ready to understand this or willing to understand this. But Derek is different. There are some sacred cows that you don't jack with, and Derrick Henry is probably one of them. Michael Williams says Tannehill needs to go. Okay, where? Michael, sure. like those are my favorite kind of comments because it doesn't mean anything. You're just saying shit to say shit. Tannehill needs to go. Where are you going to send him, Michael? He's a 35-year-old quarterback. He's coming off a high ankle sprain. He's not going to play on Sunday, almost assuredly. And you're saying you're going to move him? Who are you going to move him to? Who are you going to sell your broken quarterback to, who you couldn't keep upright, and who you've probably squandered the end of both of their careers in Henry and Ryan Tannehill? Sure, Tannehill needs to go. Where are you sending him, bud? It's one of those things where you look at the logic of people who type these things out and with all seriousness are either just ignoring all the other transactions in the league, aren't paying attention to the actual news cycle, or just completely ignorant of what the teams and the players' current situation is. Move Ryan Tannehill. Okay. Swell. I would also like $100 million on my next contract. Who's giving it to me? I cannot for the life of me understand how Buck we are hurt. Don't yell at us, says Timmy, I just listen. I don't know how else to respond to that besides yell. Like it's just completely lacking of the situation, lacking knowledge of the situation, other than you think this is some kind of fantasy football bullshit. Like, no, that's not real life. You sell one, you sell them all. No, you have to have somebody who's willing to take them. Anyway, there's Malcolm Butler out there somewhere. Yeah, that's right. Caleb Hubman says Buck goes off on a bad take like he hasn't had plenty of bad takes. Sure, that's fine. But I have the microphone. That's different. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Let's welcome Bert in for in case you missed it. Perhaps he will bring some levity to the situation. Perhaps he will be clothed. Perhaps he will not be. We'll find out together right after I remind you that the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators is the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found at GaryAshton.com. Don't sell without the intel. Don't sell your players without the intel. Don't try and sell your players without the intel, because if you do things without information, you're going to be worse off. That's why the Ashton team is there to put you in position to succeed. GaryAshton.com for more info. All right, Bert, get your ass in here.
Are you proud of me? I remember the 2-shot this time.
I am proud of you, even though this is
sitting here naked.
I can't have it all. I can't have professionalism and competency, so I will take one without the other. That's fine.
You get to pick one. I heard you saying they shouldn't trade Derrick Henry, and I have a rebuttal. Listen, I don't think they should trade him either. But have you ever seen? You probably never seen this. You're uncultured. So have you ever seen the movie Hall Pass?
Yes, I have.
So Jason Sudeikis, Owen Wilson, they're having trouble in their marriage. So their wife gives them a hall pass to do whatever they want for 1 week because their marriage is in shambles. They need to sow their wild oats.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Titans should give Derrick Henry a hall pass season. Bud, go out there and pick your team. We'll pay the rest of your salary. Where I'm 100%. Well, they told me I had to start wearing company gear, so I thought I'd wear the hat. And that would be more professional than just being out here naked necked over here.
I think that this should be the inspiration for an A to Z Sports calendar, and I think that there should be nothing but you and that hat in the photo shoot. Just a giant, naked, freckled body out there in the wild with nothing but an A to Z Sports hat over whatever it is that you're.
Give them a couple of these.
There.
Ooh, still like hotcakes. Derrick Henry, name your price. Go to who, and I'm not even talking about trading him to the Cowboys, trading him to the Bills. No, we're either sending him to the number one option. He's either going to the 49ers, the Eagles, someone that is going to be in the NFC or AFC championship game. Let him sow his wild oats, and then after the season, you can always come back home. You can always come back to us. We'll always love you. We'll never kick you out of bed for eating cookies in it. You know what I mean? So go out there, rush for ever how many yards, send him somewhere where he's going to get a bunch of touchdowns, stack his resume so he can go to the Hall of Fame. But don't let him go down with the ship. He can always come back and be Tajay Spears' backup next year. But for this year, let him go get some nook, man. Let him go get some playing time with somebody that matters. We're a 3. You know what I mean? We're a 3. Let him go out with a 10 for one.
What is this we? You're a Ravens fan. What is this we? I'm a reporter and you're a Ravens fan. Who are you trying to be this everyman for when you know damn well you don't care anything about the Tennessee Titans and you know it's my job not to care?
I sympathize. Yeah. I get it.
All right.
Is that it? Can I go now?
Yeah, you can go now. Bert's grand idea is to give Derrick Henry a hall pass season.
He deserves it. He deserves to be with a 10.
You are correct. He deserves to be with a 10. The problem is Derrick Henry right now more resembles a 3 to the rest of the NFL than he does a 10, and it is difficult to appease said hall pass theory without somebody who's actively willing to acquire Derrick Henry at this point.
Hey, Alabama running backs who have been a lot worse have been traded for a lot more. Trent Richardson. See you later, Buck.
The world is different now. That is Bert. That is his giant naked body and an A to Z Sports hat. And that is in case you missed it this week. Zeke Reddick said, it's true. Bert is, in fact, the worst, but that's why I love him. Zeke Reddick says, man, remove him talking about us. He is not even a part of the ship. That's right, you outsider. You Ratbird fan. And Bert is naked because he's just finished celebrating his 5-2 Ravens start after kicking the absolute dog shit out of the Detroit Lions yesterday. Unbelievable. Anyway, I would love for Derrick Henry to go win a championship elsewhere, since this franchise has decided that they are not serious about pursuing anything, or maybe not capable of pursuing anything of consequence this year. That is what they are telling you. That is what they are telling me. That is what they are telling their locker room by trading Kevin Byard today. All right. It's going to do it for us tonight. We'll have 3 hours of reaction to this tomorrow. We are going to hear from Mike Vrabel at the podium. He speaks at 11 a.m. He speaks at 11:20 a.m. tomorrow. We'll carry that press conference on the radio show, and you can hear from the head coach yourself about what it is that went into the decision to trade one of the franchise's best players. We'll look forward to reacting to that on the radio show tomorrow from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone, and we'll certainly be available to take your phone calls and talk about it after the fact in this primetime stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. if I don't catch you at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone. See you guys.